Anyway, let's get going before I get sidetracked again.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about Blue Protocol. I know I'm late on this. I just wanted to, give my opinion on what's been going on with it. The game is dead, basically, the top and bottom. And to be honest, it looked really cool. Visually, the game looked interesting if you're into that anime.
Game did have good visuals, but its gameplay was dog shit. It was so limited. It was so broken up. It's like if Genshin Impact had more gambling and less gameplay.
Style. And obviously people have been waiting for this for years and years. It released in Japan. Everyone was going crazy like, oh, when's it going to come out to the West? It was announced that Amazon Game Studios was going to publish the game globally. And then...
You hear that? You hear that shit? You hear the words Amazon Game Studio. If you ever hear Amazon Game Studio is publishing a game, you run. You don't spend any of your money. Their track record is less fucking consistent than me trying to stream. Their track record is so fucking shady. Man, it makes Chris Chan look like fucking Superman by comparison. At least Chris Chan was consistently pounding his mother. They can't even get a game published, let alone develop one. Amazon Games cannot figure out how to publish a game that's going to be successful.
Again, people were waiting and waiting. It was just announced that it's never coming. The game's closing down in Japan, and it was basically an abject failure. Imagine
thinking this game was going anywhere. Imagine thinking, after playing Blue Protocol for a month or more in Japan, getting a translator that was unofficial, modding the fucking game so I could play it and see what the game was about. Playing the game endlessly, every single day, and then making a video on why this game's going to be a failure and why it's just a gambling piece of shit. People are like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You see this video right here? Yeah, let me show you. No. You need to understand. You need to understand this. You see this video right here. Right here. 1 whole fucking year ago. 1 year ago. I knew this game was gonna be a fucking flop. I even gave it the benefit of the doubt and said that if it was going to be successful, it was going to get like a niche community that held it together, and that nothing more than that. That was its best chance for the future. And not even that happened, because it didn't even fucking release. Because it deserved to fail, because it was a gigantic gambling piece of shit with multiple currencies, and like, you should have seen it. It was beautiful. The whole game was so fucking trash. And then all the monetary systems strapped to the back end of this game were beautiful. They were flawlessly implemented. They were the most psychologically manipulative shit you could ever find in gaming. Of course it failed. You met Kira before. Yes, I've had a few conversations with him. I'm pretty sure he thinks I'm retarded. That's fine. I deserve that, because I was pretty retarded when I spoke to him first. He's a cool guy. Nice person.
The game was, by all accounts, not good. The best thing about it is the visuals, and the gameplay obviously wasn't keeping people's interest, and it was losing.
And you know what the best part about the visuals is? If you wanted to play this game as someone in the West, Amazon Games was gonna remove the titty physics, was gonna remove all the hot parts of the game, and make you look at the most hideous fucking cover-ups you've ever seen. Why the fuck would you even bother to play the anime titty game if they remove the anime titties from it? They fucking shot that game dead like a dog in a pound. They took that game and they beat it to death the way you do a 4-year-old in an American orphanage. That's just what happened. That's just how it is. God damn, it was bad. And they deserved it. They 100% deserved to fail. But that's just the plot of the game. What are you talking about? Shooting dogs in orphanages? No. That's what Amazon Games did outside the game. The game itself, the plot of the game, was the most generic anime shit I've ever seen, right? The fucking Your main character, the first person you meet, is a little girl who's a 1,000-year-old demon or some shit, who's also an alcoholic, and the first thing she does is ask for your autograph, make you sign a piece of paper, and now all of a sudden you're her fucking slave. Come on. You couldn't get more generic than that if you tried. And yes, the visuals were fantastic. No, the anime titties. No, that's fair. That's fair. That is the game. That's the plot of the game. There were two big plots in the game that would slap you in the face every now and then and make the game worth playing. Right? The only point of making a female character in that game was to run around naked and enjoy yourself while you played with one hand. That's the only point of the goddamn game. And they took that away. Amazon Games removed that from the fucking game. They removed the only thing the game had. Oh man, I can go about this forever. AGS has a kill list like they're a fucking oven in Auschwitz at this point. Everything they touch dies. Oh my god, it's beautiful. They can't miss. They are the gaming executioner that we've never seen before. It's crazy how many games. Let's see. Amazon Game Studio. Hold on. Let's actually look this up quick because I need to make this point clear. Amazon Games, formerly Amazon Game Studios. History. Here we go. Airport Mania. Okay, so these are all like the mobile games and shit, right? Crucible. So, 2020, Crucible, dead, gone, unreleased. They fucked the game up so much that they unreleased the goddamn game. New World, in such a fucking shitty state that no PC player would touch it with a 10-foot pole. There's like maybe 5 players online, and they did such a fucking bad job with the game that they're like, you know what, we're shutting down how this game works and reworking it for everyone who plays console games instead, because we haven't burned that community into the dirt yet. Right? We haven't set that community on fire. And we can probably get away with it because these people buy fucking FIFA and every version of those games every single goddamn year. So we've probably got a good 10 to 20 years of our shitty game on that platform. They won't notice the bugs. They won't notice all the massive fuck-ups we've done. Right? Lost Ark. Oh, you mean Bot Ark? A game filled with more bots than human beings. Blue Protocol, unreleased. Throne and Liberty, on the chopping block next. Untitled Tomb Raider project, probably dead. Oh yes, the Lord of the Rings project. Where's that shit, huh? Where's that shit, Amazon? Did you get your shit together? No, I didn't think so. God damn. These guys are champions at fucking murdering games. And no, we haven't started the video yet. We haven't started the video, Danicole. I'm just ranting about why I hate Amazon Games so much because they keep killing everything that has potential. Amazon Games is quite literally, it's like imagine someone comes to you with the next Albert Einstein or the next Beethoven or the next Mozart or something, and the teacher in the school is like, don't worry, I will train them into being the next like phenom on the planet. I will train them into being the next big thing that the planet's ever seen. And then instead of training them, the teacher takes a hammer out from under their fucking desk and just starts smacking this kid in the face, denting their brain, just barely keeping them alive, and then hands them back to the parent like, here you go. I did my job. That's Amazon Game Studio. Every single time. Every single time you see something that's being published by Amazon Game Studio, you run for your life. You see something being developed by Amazon Game Studio, don't spend a goddamn cent there.
Losing a bunch of money. It cost a whole bunch of money to make. It was losing their money to run, and the game wasn't good.
Yes.
So keep all those points in mind, because that's gonna, at least it should go in your brain and be like, oh, you know, if the game's not good and the company is literally insolvent and potentially going out of business, of course they're going to close the game, and that's probably good, because why would you want a game that's terrible and nobody wants to play it, who's actually got access to it, to come out and charge you money? But
Amazon is still wasting time with the Rings of Power. I'm not going to say anything about the Rings of Power, because otherwise we're going to be here for the next 4 hours. My God, Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite series that I grew up with. Lord of the Rings is one of the best things ever. I finally got my wife to actually start reading the book, like the Lord of the Rings book, and she read like maybe the first chapter, and she was like, holy shit, I didn't realize that this is an actual fucking banger. Like, I thought like the movies were better. No, the movies are not better. She started reading the book and she was like, holy fucking shit, I can't believe how good this is. I'm like, yeah, Tolkien knew what the fuck he was doing. And then I was like, hey babe, remember the Rings of Power? Remember how we watched 5 episodes? And she nearly threw up on the floor in front of me. Man, the Rings of Power is so shitty. Amazon deserves to fall through the earth and die for fucking up Lord of the Rings.
For whatever reason, people have got that eyes bigger than their belly, the greed of, I just want to play a game because it looks cool, as opposed to it actually being a good product. So they're all upset, of course, that the game's shutting down. What you could be upset about, and what would reasonably be upsetting, is we waited for this a whole long time, and we wish it was good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
We do,
so,
and it
that
wasn't.
sucks, and that's true. 100% with you on that one. It does suck that the game wasn't good. But to be upset that they're closing the game and blame them for like taking the decision and the step to save their jobs and their company by closing an objective failure of a game, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So reading these comments, not the development being longer than the whole service, they truly just gave up. They've got no fucking money, mate. They've got no money. As you can see,
it's worse than that. It's worse than they've got no fucking money. Right? So for anyone who's like interacted, for anyone who's interacted with businesses on some kind of internal level, generally speaking, a lot of these businesses, especially in the gaming space, they take out these big hedged bets, especially when you think you can get like a big publisher like Amazon behind you. And what they do is they're actually not out of money. They're actually sunk themselves into excessive amounts of debt before having to declare bankruptcy and collapse the company and run away because they don't have nothing. They have negative nothing. That's how bad it gets.
Here, Bandai Namco Online in state of insolvency due to 8.2 billion yen loss and negative net income. So looking at it from their perspective,
you see that 8.2 billion yen loss. That is negative 8.2 billion yen. Now, I don't know Japanese funny money, so let's translate that into something that actually makes sense. Let's translate that into not Monopoly money. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 8.2 million. Fuck. Oh my god. Oh. Jesus Christ. Oh. Oh my god. That's a higher GDP than my fucking country makes. This one video game is more in debt than my whole country. Oh, that's impressive. Oh no. Oh, the gambling anime casino shut down. How terrible. I guess we'll just have to live with not playing that fucking piece of shit game.
Right? What you've got here is a game that's cost loads of money to make. Nobody likes it. The game's on life support in Japan. It's not making very much money at all. And you can either continue to pump money you literally do not have into a game that the market has decided they don't want, to try and make it into something that is good, despite the fact you've spent years.
You can't make it into something that's good. There will be a sequel to Yes, Your Grace. Good. I'll play that shit. Danical, I will play the fuck out of that shit. I don't know if I can convince my wife to do it with me, but yeah, I'll play that shit. Yes, Your Grace was great. So, imagine going to a bank and being like, yo, I was wondering if we could just borrow like an extra spare 5 billion yen. We're only negative 8.2 billion yen right now. We think we can make up the difference. That's not happening. And especially with the architecture, the structure of how Blue Protocol's built, it's more like a third-person ARPG, pretending to be an MMORPG, it's not a good game. It's a trash game. It's fucking garbage. The best thing I can say about it is that the visuals were pretty good. That's it. That's all it had was visuals.
Doing it and couldn't to that point, or close the game down and, you know, just write it off and move on. And what people wanted was for them to run the game that isn't good until the game potentially is good, even though if they continued, they'd have to shut down the company and never make games again. So realistically, like, this is a very obvious solution and something we should all be kind of like thankful for in a way. And I'm gonna say that and people are gonna be, Kira, what are you talking about? Why would you be thankful for a game closing? And it's because I remember Bless Online, and I remember repeatedly seeing the game that everyone knew wasn't good because it had failed already in the region it was created in, Korea, releasing to another region, people buying it thinking, oh, you know, I've not heard of this before, or maybe they fixed it. And
you know what's really funny to me is all the people who looked at Blue Protocol. I think this is hilarious. Is all these dumbasses who looked at Blue Protocol failing miserably in Japan. And they were like, no, but it's going to be different in the West, guys. It's going to be different. Like, fucking Japanese people are like a completely different species of human being. Right? Like, I'm sorry, we've all got noses. If you smell shit, you smell shit. Right? Doesn't matter what race you are. But it's like this weird thing where people see that the anime game is failing where the anime game was made. And they're like, no, it'll be completely different. Man, it's going to change. It's going to be so different when it comes to the West. Dumbasses. God damn, I'm so happy. I'm so happy about this because I got so much shit saying that I was wrong about Blue Protocol. And I was right.
And then they'd not fixed it and it was still bad. And then it would release in another region and people would buy it again. And they did this 5 times. And then they made Bless Unleashed and did it another 5 times.
Yep.
Only this time they went console in an area, PC in an area, and repeat.
Hey, guess what New World's doing right now? Hey, just wild guess. What's New World doing? And why does this sound like he's talking about New World, not Bless Online? Huh? Yeah.
Repeatedly did it. I thought we'd said that if a game's bad, they should just not charge people money for it and constantly release it until it's fixed. But then obviously if they don't have the money to fix it, what these people wanted, I guess, and I understand in a way, I'm not going to totally blame people for feeling this way. I think it's just like kind of silly. What people wanted was for them to release this broken shit game globally, charge them money for it, just so that they could, let them play a game that isn't good because they feel like they're missing out because they didn't play something that isn't good. I guess it's more curiosity than anything. And this idea I've said for ages, which is when you describe and show a game to somebody, if they don't actually get to play it, they don't have any idea of whether it's good or not. They just make this thing in their brain that's like, it's like a fantasy basically, and the game can probably never really live up to their anticipation or expectations. So people really wanted this game despite data and other people showing that the game's not really very good. At best, from like a beginner perspective, it was mediocre, had like some cool combat. The aesthetic was the greatest thing about it if you're into anime. Yes. But aside from that,
100%, he's 100% right. The only thing worthwhile in this game was jerking off to it for a little bit, and that's about it. Fuck bless Amazon probably took notes, then releasing on console. You're not wrong, Cassius. You know what? I bet you right now, I'll bet you money. Whatever retarded thing you think that Amazon is gonna do with New World, whatever borderline, retarded, idiotic, stupid-ass thing that you think they're gonna do, right now, you can type it in chat, whatever the fuck you think it is, and I bet you money that right now Amazon has come up with something infinitely more retarded than whatever you can think of. 10,000 times dumber than anything you can even try and think of. You will literally have to go and mentally damage yourself. You'll have to actually, like, I'm not kidding. Go back in time, find yourself as a baby in a hospital, drop kick your own head against a fucking wall, give yourself back to your mom, travel back to the present, and say something retarded. And I promise you that whatever you said is at least 10 times smarter than the average plan that Amazon Games has for New World.
That the game wasn't good. Nobody really enjoyed this very much. And they wanted Bandai Namco to just say, oh, it's failed, we don't have any money, let's just release it in other regions, take your money, and then later close down the product, because that's basically just putting a band-aid over the fact that you're just bleeding out. You know, you've got an artery bleed, and they're just like, oh, here's a plaster. So rip to those who drop thousands of dollars in yen into the game. LeMayo, those guys got cooked hard, yeah. I mean, this is the thing with live services, right? If you're going to spend a bunch of money on it, you are buying the thing that exists now, but the game's never guaranteed. It's never
They went into... Okay, so there are people... Okay, there's no other way to describe this, right? So there are people who went into Blue Protocol, right? And they spent thousands of dollars in an online gambling casino for skins. For skins, something that didn't even make them better at the game. And then the game shut down. Oh my god! Oh my god, that was... You deserved to lose that money if you did that. If you spent any money in that casino, in that little gambling shitbox, you deserve to lose everything.
Guaranteed to continue. Well fucking deserved. Choosing a terrible publisher and delaying global release until forever. The game wasn't good. So... again, you'd have just been giving them money and then the game still would have closed because the game was bad. Like, this is what people don't seem to understand. Not allowing global players to play on the JP server in the meantime, going so far as to dedicate a report function for when you so much as suspect someone as a Baka Gaijin.
Yep. So, I was suspected as a Baka Gaijin in this game about 4 times. I had 4 different accounts. In order to get all the footage I needed on Blue Protocol, I got 3 accounts banned. It actually might have been 4. I can't remember. Might have been 3. I can't remember. It's been too long. But I remember I was using like different VPNs and shit and like figuring out how to like type in Japanese just to make sure that these people couldn't find me. I eventually got it right on the character that I was using, like the ballsack weapon. And that's the one I got all my footage on. But I got reported like 3 times and they drop kicked Westerners out of their fucking servers. Oh man. That's also why I was actually, in this video, I'm not kidding, right? I'm not kidding. In this video, I say it here somewhere. I'll show it to you. This company, I really, really wanted to be sponsored by private internet access. Do you know why? Because out of all the VPNs I tried, this one was a fair price and it did its fucking job, right? I'm not telling you to use a VPN for security reasons or whatever, but this is the only VPN that didn't get me caught out. This is the only VPN that I found that didn't get my ass beat in this game, right? Every other VPN didn't work, and I was so looking forward to getting sponsored by them, and then do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? When I tried to get sponsored by these people. So I've got like a guy who like I talk to him and he like tries to set up deals for me, and this poor man is like spinning his wheels because he can't find anyone who wants to like sponsor my shit. Because I'm autistic about the things I want to sponsor my stuff. I want to do things in a very like ethical way. I want to give people products that actually work. And so that makes it really difficult on his end. And then on top of that, do you know what happened? He went to private internet access. He went to them, spoke to them. They looked at 2 of my videos and they're like, we don't want to be associated with this motherfucker. We don't want this motherfucker anywhere near your our brand. No, no, get him the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my office. So they refused to do any kind of deal with me. which was kind of sad because I actually really like their product. And I can say that freely because I spent money on their goddamn product along with like 3 other VPNs, and theirs was the only one that did the job properly.
There's a reason that this exists. There's actually multiple reasons that this exists. And it seems like this Western entitlement and just entitlement from gamers in general just is never going to go away, because people don't sit and think, why would something occur? You know, why, from someone else's perspective that makes total sense, by the way, exist when I want to do it. Me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you just have to logic this one out, right? Why would a Japanese company that developed a game for a Japanese player base not want a bunch of people from outside of Japan coming and playing the game? First and foremost, they don't have robust anti-cheat software usually in Japanese products, because Japanese people, by and large, don't cheat in their games. It's not a thing they have to really worry about. So opening...
Yeah, Japanese people do this weird thing where they obey the law. It's real fucking strange.
Up the floodgates for a bunch of people to come in that don't abide by, I guess, the cultural or societal norms of not fucking the game up for everybody else, is not a good idea, is it? So obviously banning foreigners is the easiest way to do that. Second, another one is, of course, you don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So in a game where you play multiplayer and there's other people in the game, why would they want you, who can't communicate with everyone, could ruin the experience for people who the product is designed for in their game in the first place? You're not entitled to play something just because it exists and you want to. Like, it's...
Okay. I'm gonna call that one out, right? I'm gonna say that's fucking cope. And let me explain to you why that's cope, right? And maybe it's because Kira didn't actually play the game, but this is the way that Blue Protocol worked, right? That's cope to me. That's not one of the reasons. The social thing is not one of the reasons, right? The Chinese, on the other hand, look, the Chinese made a based fucking monkey game. I genuinely, like, if I put aside all the jokes, I think China is going to be the next, like, god tier AAA industry of gaming, because they're not full of shit like all these people in the West. So the whole social thing, oh, you can't socially interact with people, I think that's horse shit. Do you know why? This is how Blue Protocol worked. You had one zone over here, and you had another zone over here. And you could, to get between these two zones, you had to go through a fucking loading screen. And all of these zones were instanced. And guess what? The most amount of players you could have in any of these zones was 30 people. That's it. That's it. Oh, and all the little, like, dungeons and shit, right? There was, like, maybe one per region. And you could go and do that dungeon solo. You could solo the shit out of all of that stuff. And I did. I personally soloed every single fucking dungeon. And then, on top of that, right, the dungeons, when you do them in a group, let's say you actually get a group of 5 people, right? No one is speaking to each other. Not a single fucking word is said. Do you know why? In these dungeons, there's a timer. There's like a time limit, right? So it'll give you like maybe 30 minutes to complete the dungeon. Now, if you're doing dungeons solo, it might take you, I don't know, like a good 20 minutes, right? If you know what you're doing, it might take you 15, it might take you less, depending on your gear and so on and so forth. When you do these dungeons in a group of 5 people, the fastest I was in a dungeon was 1 minute, 32 seconds. It took me 1 minute, 32 seconds to get through an entire fucking dungeon. Not a single word was said. And I did this multiple times. So the whole social reason of, oh, you can't socially interact, it's bullshit. Because the social systems were like a strap-on on a lesbian, right? It was there, but you knew it was fake. You knew it was bullshit. It wasn't there for the right reasons. It didn't make sense. It was garbage. Also, what's up, Iconic? How you doing? So I'm calling him out. I think he's wrong on this, but I don't think Kira's like, I don't think he's like lying. I don't think he's like being a bad person about this. I think he's trying to give these Japanese devs the benefit of the doubt. And the reality is, they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. Because they made a shitty game where most of their resources and programming went into making an online gacha casino with really shitty game mechanics, and like the actual game itself was just dog shit, and no one was talking to each other. That chat was empty. Every single time I went into there, that chat was empty. Do you know who was talking in the chat when I translated a bunch of stuff from Japanese to English? The only people I saw talking were fucking bots. That's it. That's the only people I saw there. Were like advertising things, people trying to sell shit. That's the only time I saw anyone talking in Blue Protocol. It was so empty. The most socially interactive thing I saw in the entire game, after playing it for an entire month, was one night I was playing the game, and 5 guys with female characters stood in the middle of town, got naked, and started dancing in synchronous. That's the most coordination I saw in the entire game. The rest of it was just people playing it like they were trying to rush through this shit, like they needed to take a dump, and they were holding it in for another minute and 32 seconds.
It's their product. They want the people they made it for to play it, and that isn't you. You were going to be playing on the global version. And then, of course, bringing it to the global version, when a company licenses a product as a third party, like a publisher, like Amazon Game Studios, for their region, typically there's some kind of clause or expectation that you don't allow people from that region to play your version of the game. That's why many of them have IP blocks and things, because obviously if they're saying we're going to give you money for this thing and we're going to operate this thing and we're going to put resources into this thing so that we can make money and give you a kickback and things like that for using it, we don't want our player base going and playing on your version, because then they're not giving us money, and why the fuck are we paying you and doing this if they can just go and use yours in the first place? So that's 2 very reasonable reasons as to why they wouldn't let you play it. And you're not entitled to play a game just because somebody made it and you want to. It's just not how it works. Like, the game was for Japanese.
That's fair, but I'm a bastard and I don't care about morals, so I will find a way to play your game if you don't let me.
People, that's why it was the Japanese.
And I'm not going to sit here and make up an excuse and try and pretend that I'm a good person who did something for a good reason. No, I'm a bastard. I'm a fucking bastard. That's why I did it.
So do they deserve failure for just making something and not letting you play? No.
No.
Do they deserve failure for making a bad game?
Yes.
Yes. Like, it's really that simple. Once again, Bamco proved they can't run a game for shit. I mean, yeah, that's why it's closed. True.
Yep.
You made me wait 3 years, had me hyped as this was my most anticipated game, drop the JP version and then say global is coming later, and then cancel. Fuck you, Banco. Yeah, they should have just had everyone lose their jobs, cancel all other games, close every game that they own, and just let you play the game that is bad.
Based.
That's what they should have done. Now, obviously, some people kind of saw this coming, right? And there was signs if you looked. So Amazon Game Studios initially, like a few weeks ago, removed Blue Protocol from their website, which there's only one reason to do that, because the game's not coming out, and they already knew, of course, because they have a agreement with the company making the game. They knew it wasn't coming out. As soon as that was removed off the website, 100% it's not releasing. Along with, it was absent from Gamescom, which is incredibly suspicious. And if you combine those 2, it was definitely not coming out. This was from 12 days ago that was posted on the Blue Protocol Reddit. There was this funny post where somebody 10 days ago claimed that they had leaks and there was data mining that the game was coming out in a bunch of different regions.
You made your house for white people. Why do these minorities keep trying to buy it from me? That's probably because you live on a plantation, iconic, and they're trying to buy the property so they can bury their long dead ancestors that some of your ancestors whipped into the dirt. That might be why. They want their land back. They want to bury their ancestors. You should have just done what I did and buy a crack house. Oh, iconic. I've actually got a picture to show you. It's actually in my Discord. I'm going to show you a picture. I'll explain this because I wanted to show you with the camera. I wanted to show like everyone with the camera the last time I was streaming, but I couldn't get it to work. So I'll show you in the Discord just now.
Regions with a bunch of different languages: English, French, German, Spanish, etc., etc., as well as it might be released in June 2025. which is funny because then a couple of days later it was announced that it was dead. And then there was this, which was funny. And again, I'm not trying to laugh at people for like wanting something, but I am going to laugh when you try to set up a change.org petition.
Oh my God.
This thread rather. But I'm going to laugh when you set up a change.org petition to save a game you never played that is, by all accounts, not good, that has failed in the region it was created for, and that the company is bankrupt. Because for some reason in your brain you think signing a change.org petition, the company's going to turn around when they see this and they're going to go, yeah, I know we've got no money and we physically, literally cannot in any circumstances continue.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's incredible. That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. So I'm just going to cosplay quick as your average Blue Protocol fan, your average Blue Protocol enjoyer. Okay, so like I know the game in like its home region. I know like it failed, and I know everyone hates it. And I know the game's just like a gambling simulator with some anime tits on it. But I think that if we make a petition online, we can really change what people think about this game. I think we have a really good opportunity to let everyone know that Blue Protocol is a game that I want to play, even though I've never played it. I think it would be let's create an online petition. Those always work. That's just me cosplaying as your average Blue Protocol fan. You shouldn't have given me the wheelchair. This is your fault. Let's continue. God, I get pulled off track so fucking easily on these streams.
You need to run this game, but there are a few thousand Westerners that signed a petition that say that they want the game, which they'd probably get and then not play because it's not very good. But because of that, we'll definitely defy all sorts of financial laws and make money generate out of thin air so that we can continue operating the game. No private company is going to continue operating an expensive game at a loss because a bunch of weebs signed a petition. Couldn't have... Based. Only logical man in this entire thread is this guy right here. No weebs signing a petition is going to change a goddamn thing. I shared that clip with my Haitian friend, and she said she's still not playing. That's her loss. That's her loss. I've said it better myself. What a great comment. People who think the game would do better in the West never played it. It's simply not a good game. I understand that it looks good and is visually a weeb's wet dream, but everything about it is mid AF. You get bored of the combat system in no time. There is no interesting content. Man, shut the fudge up. It's people like you why we can have good stuff. Right. So there you can tell this is a child. A child has written this because only a child is going to leave a double spacing between fudge and up because that means he's changed it. And it also, you can tell he can't like type. I'm saying this as someone who has explored the depths of humanity. When I made that first Guild Wars 2 video and I got a bunch of dumbass death threats that I was not going to take seriously, I could tell immediately these were children and retards sending me these things because they couldn't spell. They used their main email address to send this to me, so I got their addresses and shit. They couldn't, for the life of me, figure out how to not double space shit. These people were borderline retarded. It's why I took none of these death threats seriously, and it's why the thing that scared me more with the Guild Wars 2 stuff was when people sent me terabytes of porn. That is far more of a threat to me than any of these retards who can't spell. You think if they can't spell on the internet that they're able to load a gun, pull off the safety, and fire it at me? God damn, they can't even tie their shoes. I'm not afraid of them. If someone was really gonna like threaten me, they would send me a picture of my house, and I'm sure, I know that someone can. It'll take like 10 minutes for someone to figure out where I am and do that. But those idiots who get that fucking mad about me saying there's pay to win in Guild Wars 2, which there is, by the way,
Yeah, they're not a threat.
You go. Game's not good. Shut up. You're hurting my feelings. Don't tell me that the game that failed and nobody wants to play is not good. I mean, having said that, people do want to play it, but you'll notice the people that want to play it have not played it, and the people that got the opportunity to play it no longer played it, which just goes to show the game was not worth playing. But I do understand, because in the MMO genre in general, which again, this isn't an MMO, but kind of similar enough to one to warrant talking about if you're an MMO content creator or whatever else, or just using that loose term that has lost all meaning anyway in 2024. There's not that much stuff coming out, right? There's not that much to be excited about. What have you got? Crowdfunding mess.
Let's see. What is there to be excited about when it comes to MMOs? Like, what is there to be hyped about currently in the MMO space? Ashes of Creation, Throne and Liberty, Dune maybe, World of Warcraft. Oh my god. Okay, well, I guess the stream's over now. Like, I'll just end it right here. Right? Fucking I have so many doubts about WoW being good, Devilish. I genuinely hope this. I hope that the next expansion is fantastic for WoW. But I have next to no trust that WoW is able to do good combat. I don't trust a goddamn thing about that. It's not retard, it's special heroes now. That's just retard with extra steps.
Number 37 that's 10 years in and still shit and still taking millions of dollars, or games we've had for 15 years, or re-release of game from 20 years ago. You don't really have much to be excited about. Nothing really huge on the horizon. Oh, I guess I missed another category. South Korean game that's already failed in South Korea, has a crazy cash shop, will probably require you to have no job to compete at the highest levels of the game.
He's talking about Throne and Liberty.
And it's an open world PvP game, so you probably get to a point where you're getting your ass bashed by people who do that. As well as, of course, spend a bunch of money on convenience things so that it doesn't feel like you're being dragged into the fucking ocean by lead weights around your legs while simply trying to swim for fun. You know, these are...
That is exactly what's going to happen with Throne and Liberty. What he just described there is the perfect rendition of how Throne and Liberty is going to go down. You're going to play that game, and it's going to get to a point where it's like... The best way I can think to put it is it's going to hit a wall. The same way that when you're a dude, you hit 28 and you hit a wall, your back gives out from all the ass poundings you've taken. Your metabolism goes to shit. Your hair just evaporates off your head. You're going to hit that barrier. And from then on, it's impossible to play the game unless you give them extra money. That's exactly what's going to happen with Throne and Liberty.
Kind of like the categories of MMOs you've got now. So I do understand why people would have this opinion and would be really upset about this being closed down. But of course, the only rational way to look at it is that you should mourn the idea of the game that could have been good and not the closure of something that wasn't. Because
Blue Protocol couldn't have been good. Its fundamental architecture and the way the game was built from the ground up was trash. It's fucking dog shit.
Realistically, you know, if somebody spends 5 years making a game and then it releases and it's bad and they continue developing the game for like another year and it's still bad, what makes you think it would have came good a year or two later and way more money? It's not real life that you can just constantly keep plugging away at something and then eventually it will always work out. That's some shit out of a kid's book. It is also funny that this dude says, oh, Final Fantasy XIV was able to recover from a disastrous 1.0 launch. Maybe Blue Protocol can too. Well, Final Fantasy XIV was taken over by another team.
Final Fantasy was taken over by another team, just like he just said. It had to relaunch itself from fucking scratch. They had to reset everything in Final Fantasy, and the best that they could actually do was make a game that functioned incredibly similar to WoW, with an incredible story. I'm not gonna fucking beat on that, right? The story, as far as I've seen in Final Fantasy, is amazing. It's actually one of the reasons I'm so fucking scared to ever touch Final Fantasy, because for me to do a video, like a video on Final Fantasy, it's gonna take me like 3 years to get up to where the game is currently. It'll take me so goddamn long to get there, right? And also, let's just be honest, super fucking hot bunny girls. That shit, the decisions were made, and they were the right decisions when they put those in the game. So much so, they made it canon that the old world got destroyed. Exactly. They even worked it into the story. Yoshi P looks way older after working on Final Fantasy. I'm not surprised. Yoshi P quite literally severed a piece of his fucking soul and put it into that game to make it work. That dude created a fucking Horcrux just to make Final Fantasy work. There's a piece of that man that's missing that he will never get back. That's how much he put into that. Right? You know how, like, what was it? It was Obama when he was like the US president. How 8 years of drone striking children took him from like a guy who looked like young and youthful to like the most grizzled, fucked up dude on the planet. That's like maybe 10% of what Yoshi P went through trying to make Final Fantasy good. And he's like, and Yoshi P's still going. He's still deep down that abyss. He's doing his best. I gotta respect that.
And basically had an entirely new game made, which requires a large sum of money and time, which are two things that Blue Protocol doesn't have because the company has no money and no time. But it does raise an interesting discussion, this thread in particular. RIP Blue Protocol, we barely knew you. That's to say we've only heard about you for years, read about how this will be the next great MMO. Wasn't an MMO. Saw some footage for the Western version, watched videos of real people playing it, saying how good it was, etc. First impressions, usually. So maybe we did know you a little more than you let on. Same goes for EverQuest Next, Wildstar, Firefall, Tabula Rasa, Pantheon, Ashes of Creation, and then it continues to go on. This does raise...
I think that is the biggest fucking cope in the world. Imagine putting Blue Protocol in the same category as Wildstar, unironically. Thinking that Wildstar belongs in the same category as Blue Protocol or EverQuest. Or Ashes of Creation. And Ashes hasn't even gone into its Alpha 2 yet. I bet you that if they released Ashes 2, and like Ashes Alpha 2, and they did nothing with the game, right? Just based on the shitty footage I've seen so far, and all the bugs that they're still working through, and the completely unfinished game, if they released Ashes of Creation tomorrow, it would be a better game than Blue Protocol was at full release.
Raise an interesting point about we just know too much now.
And you know what, Devilus, you might be right. That this might actually just be a troll post. This might be someone styling on the community because they think it's funny.
When it comes to games...
And yes, Rabenstein, Ion could have been good. I played Ion. I actually loved the shit out of the 3D flying around kind of shit. And the PvP was amazing for that. I loved that shit. I thought it was great, but the game itself needed a lot more work. It was clunky WoW. That's the problem with it. I think it was WoW with flight mechanics where you could fight while you fly, and they could have done a way better job with it. It could have been good, but this is the difference. Ion had the potential to be good that it didn't live up to. Blue Protocol was at its maximum potential, and its maximum potential was a fucking abortion in the sink of a Texas gas station. That's its maximum potential. Was a ghost holding on to its mom's leg after she just dropped the coat hanger, and the ghost is saying, "Do you still love me, mommy?" That's the most accurate way to describe Blue Protocol. And anyone who thinks that it had a chance, no, it's dead. It's in the sink. It's getting like ground up by one of those American, like, you know, blender shits that they have in their sink. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Delicious tomato soup.
Especially in like the MMO or MMO adjacent genres, where it takes years and years to make a game. We just know too much. By the time most of these games come out or get cancelled, there's already like huge communities surrounding the games that have like made it part of their personality. that have spent a bunch of time making friends and talking to people and making YouTube channels and discussing, theory crafting the game and talking about it and looking at it and reading the dev blogs and all these things for years and years and years, which I guess is almost a hobby in and of itself. But at the same time, then when the game isn't good, it's just like people feel that they've wasted years of their life doing this.
Yes.
And it's just really unhelpful, I guess.
So what he just said there, right? People have wasted years of their life, and so they're coping and seething and molding, and they're so like fucking, they're so desperate for it to be good. How hard can it be to make a Souls like combat MMO compared to a regular MMO? Apparently very hard. But Rando, it can be done very fucking well, but think about who the people are who are making these MMOs, right? These Souls-like MMOs. Why did they make a Souls-like MMO? Is it because they love action combat? No. They don't love action combat. They know that there is a branding around Souls-like games that people love and they enjoy. So they know they can get a larger community of people to play their fucking game if they strap the Souls-like gameplay to it, right? The people making these games are not doing it because they love MMORPGs. They're not making it because they enjoy it. They're making it because they're like, we can make a bunch of fucking money by making these decisions, which is the wrong place to make these kinds of MMOs from. It's only very hard because the wrong people are making those MMOs. That's why. That's what it is. Ion was good once back when it was a monthly sub. When it first came out, it went downhill fast when it went free to play. Every game that starts off as a sub and goes free to play is probably in a bad state. Good fellow, that's just how it works. Ion was decent. I enjoyed my time in Ion. I really enjoyed my warrior and my cleric in Ion when I played the game. I very much enjoyed it. I did take a look back at it when it was free. I even did it on stream like a few years back, and man, it was kind of a shit show. There were enjoyable things that I still really liked about it, but it was still a shit show, unfortunately.
Because this happens super frequently. How many MMOs come out and are worth investing those years of your life into watching something and keeping up with something and discussing something that ultimately turns out not to be good? It's almost every one of them. So it just kind of... I guess this, again, should put into perspective for people that these games are going to come out or not come out, whether or not you follow it or read all the things or watch all the videos or join the communities. So you might as well just wait and do all the stuff and not like constantly pursue this idea that this one's going to be the one and invest all your emotions and energy into that being the case when you could just go play other stuff. And
he's right.
Honestly, people waiting for the next great MMO, it just seems like, I've been saying this for like 5 years now, it doesn't appear to be coming. Maybe one will pop up, maybe something will surprise you, but with how like alphas and...
No, you can't say that. You can't say that. It's coming. The new big one is coming. It's gonna recapture the old magic. It's coming. No, you can't say that. That's what I'm expecting in his comments, right? He's probably right that we are beyond the great age of the MMO, because WoW fucked everything else into the dirt. It was just that good back in the day. And now the problem is everyone has their old established MMOs and they're waiting for something better to come out. So it's like every other MMO becomes like the waiting room for the new one. They try out the new one is shit, and then they go back to the old one because somehow the old one that's like over a decade old has better mechanics, better systems, better story, better variety than any of the new trash that's coming out. It's just how it is. It's why people hop from games like Guild Wars 2 or Final Fantasy to a new MMO, play it for a month, and then they're right fucking back home. Also, time investment is a big reason why. Has Warhammer gotten enough hype yet to get its own good MMO? Yes, Iconic, it has. You know what, I'm going to say this very tentatively. Warhammer has more than enough hype to get a good MMO, but it's not about the hype. It's about who's making the MMO. And Games Workshop have proven that they have trouble making any good Warhammer games. Space Marine's the most played Warhammer game. Rogue Trader, I'm sorry, it was shit. I tried it was trash. The other ones that were really good were niche, like Dark Tide. All the old RTS games, and that was from an entire different generation of games. There was a Warhammer MMO as far as I remember, and it wasn't good. So I wouldn't be concerned about hype. It's got that. I would be concerned about who the fuck is making that MMO. And if it's under the purview of Games Workshop, it's gonna be dog shit. I'm sorry to tell you. Guild Wars 3 is the best hope I can hope for, and we don't even know if it really exists, how much it looks like. Sounds like a place for MMO fans to be. Yeah, look, everyone's got their future hopes, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I simp for the Dune MMO because I love the Dune franchise. But let's be honest, it's probably not going to be something that people play for years on end. I simp for the fucking Ashes of Creation MMO. I want it to be good. I really do. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you should be spending $120 fucking on an alpha key for a game that's not even released yet. Right? I can't tell you to do that. Who knows? Maybe Ashes is good for a month, and then it gets like its niche community, or it becomes like this thing where everyone who's in a guild automatically controls the fucking game like it's a monopoly on each and every single server, and then everyone else is fucked, and so everyone who's a solo player just evaporates and leaves, and you've only got these giant guilds happening, and that's it. And if you're in a guild, you're good, and if you're out of a guild, you're not. That might happen. That's what I see. Right? So I have hope for the future, but I'm not going to sit here and then give you false hope along with me. I think that's a really fucking bad idea.
Betas and the release cycle and things go for these games, you see things on the horizon for like 5-10 years, and unless there's something that's being developed that just nobody knows about, I just don't see what it's going to be. And it was never going to be Blue Protocol, but yeah. I guess we've milked this video for as long as we can. Nothing super interesting, I guess, but some funny things. And it's always interesting to see how people react to news that should just be like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks. And not, I saw people posting fuck Amazon. Amazon straight catching strays on this one because it's nothing to do with them. They didn't make the game.
Oh, it's got plenty to do with Amazon. It's fuck Amazon because they keep on killing games. This is just another one on top of the pile. Or, you know what Amazon needed? Like, seriously, do you know what Amazon needed to figure out that Blue Protocol was fucked before they got into this deal with the game whatsoever? They needed one fucking guy in their office who plays MMORPGs to play Blue Protocol for like a week. And he would have went to the manager and say, do not take this fucking deal. Do not take this. This is another loss for our gaming company. But do you know why that wasn't going to happen? Because the people who make MMOs now don't play MMOs. If you had one guy, just one guy, who had enough decision-making power that he could look his goddamn boss in the face, the person behind Amazon, who was like signing these deals off. They just needed that one guy to play the game for a week, and they would have been saved. Also, Amazon does deserve a fuck you, because what they did was they took the only thing Blue Protocol had and then covered it up. The tits and the ass. They covered that shit up. Like being censorious was a good idea. Imagine taking a pile of shit and then shitting on top of the pile of shit. That's not going to make it more, like that's not going to make it better. That just makes it a bigger covered up pile of shit. That's how that works. God damn.
They were going to publish the game, which was a great opportunity for Blue Protocol. And I'm sure the servers and stuff would have been good because it's Amazon, and, you know, maybe there are better publishers, but in this space, who... You know, were you going to have it to some like random Russian company or something, or one of the companies that constantly just strip mine these games and close them? But to say, you know, fuck Amazon on this one, no,
they deserve it. I'm sorry, they deserve it. They were the ones being censorious and shit. Have you not seen Warhammer 40k Mechanicus? I may have seen it. I think I know the music of it. I've played the music. I love the fucking music from it, actually. Yeah, that link you sent? Yeah, I know that song. That's a fucking banger of a song.
It's not their fault. And fuck Bandai, Namco, Online, or whatever it's called. In a way, I guess I understand, but not really their fault for closing the game. It's the only avenue that was open to them, other than doing a Bless Online, releasing a fucking...
They never should have touched it in the first place. They had all the warning signs and they ignored them. Amazon was drunk and they got behind the wheel of a fucking forklift. And they were in a goddamn child-friendly zone. It was the middle of the day, all the kids just ran out for break, and that guy just hit the forklift and started spinning. Just taking kids out left and right as those blades came past. Amazon knew what they were doing. Fuck Amazon. They're dumbasses for this. And they censored that shit. They took away the one thing Blue Protocol had. They deserve these strays that they caught.
Fucking broken game that they knew sucked to the West to take money from you to then later close the game anyway because the game was bad. I don't think throwing money at this problem would have solved anything. So the idea that it would have released and you'd have given them money and maybe they'd have fixed it is just kind of fantasy land.
That's cope. That's what I was hoping would happen with New World. That was fucking cope of me. And yes, yeah, I know that song. It's fucking incredible, dude. That song in particular, that Mechanicus song, is amazing.
But there we go. Thanks for watching. As always, suggest me content. Go to the link in the video description. Buy Gamer Subs. They have some awesome new merch and things like that. New waifu cups coming. It's a powder. You put it in water, you drink it. Caffeinated or uncaffeinated. Loads of different flavors. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.
Yeah, good video. Solid video. I think he's wrong on a few points. The first point I think he's wrong on is that Amazon deserved the strays that they caught. Because they censored the one thing Blue Protocol had going for it.